Great design isn't just about being able to pick out pretty things. It's the details that make the difference. Hey there, hi, welcome to the channel. I am Garrett, and in this video, we are talking all about some more of those fine details, those designer mistakes that I see that I can't help but notice that drive me crazy. So many of you loved part 1 of this series, so naturally we had to do a part 2. Be sure you give it a like and you're subscribed to the channel for more videos like this, and you have the bell notification turned on to get notified every time I upload, and let's get into the video. The first mistake I see being made, and I notice right away as soon as I walk into a space, is that a piece of furniture does not match the scale or proportion of the wall it's on. And this kind of relates to case pieces or chairs, benches, anything pushed against a wall. This might be in a living room or a hallway or an entryway. It's a piece of furniture that has a different proportion to the wall. If a wall is wide, you want to have a piece of furniture that's also wide. You also want to make sure if a wall is small or thin, you have a piece of furniture that matches the proportions of that, because when you don't have that, it will make the piece of furniture that's on that wall look like it's a little bit lower, it's a little bit denser, more chunky, in not a very good way. There's a time and a place for it, but you don't want your furniture pieces to feel out of place on the wall that they're on. So making sure that the proportions match is gonna do that for you. You can definitely fix this without having to replace a piece of furniture by flanking that piece with different items, be it baskets, stools, ottomans, chairs, even smaller tables or other pieces of furniture. You can make a piece look wider that way so that it fits into a space. You also don't want a piece that's too wide or too thick on a wall, because it will make the wall look smaller than it is and make it look cramped. This is important because scale is not the only thing that makes a piece look out of place or not fit into a room. It's really the proportions and matching the proportions of a wall that a piece of furniture is up against alongside artwork, alongside accessories, so that things feel like they flow and they connect well, and so that nothing in your space feels like it's chunky, out of place, like it's too dense or heavy, because it's going to make a space feel cluttered and small as opposed to feeling like it fits there, like it's meant to be, or like it makes sense. There's nothing worse than a piece that just feels out of place, like it's chunky, like it's dense, like it's a little bit thick in not the right place. You want that piece to feel like it's proportionate to the space, to the wall it's on, so that you don't have a piece that's an eyesore in a room or feels out of place. The next designer mistake I see that drives me absolutely crazy are beds pushed into corners. There is a certain way to make this work, and there's a certain time and a place for it. Like a kid's bedroom, if you have a single bed or a toddler bed, push it against a wall so that they have more room to play. But in a grown-up's room, an adult room, you want to make sure that the bed is not pushed into a corner. And you might have a really awkward space where it overlaps with a window if you don't have it in a corner. I would much rather see that than a bed pushed into a wall or a corner, because A, I don't know how you're making that bed. It seems very difficult and doesn't ever look good. And B, what are you, climbing over somebody else to get out of the bed? That's just a little bit weird. It just doesn't ever look right. It doesn't ever feel like it's inviting or like it's beautiful. You want your bedroom to be a sanctuary. You want it to feel like it's a hotel and be luxurious, and whatever that means for you, but having a bed pushed into a corner is just not gonna do that for you. It's also not very functional if there are 2 people using a room, and if there's only 1 person, you probably don't need to have like a king-size bed pushed into a corner. Another thing to keep in mind is that you may be thinking, well, my bed has to be pushed into a corner so I have space in the rest of my room. Do you really need that space there? Are you running and jumping and doing cartwheels in a room? Are you playing on the floor? You may not be, or you may be able to do whatever it is you need that floor space for in another area of your home. Ideally, you would have a bed centered on a wall in a space, but you may have a room that's longer in one direction than another. You may have a door that opens in one direction or another. You want to make sure you have clearance for whatever it is you need, but that you can also get around the side of a bed. If you have a very large bed, like a king-size bed in a small room, maybe test out having a smaller bed. Think about what a queen-size bed would do in that room. I'm not sure what you would call a queen-size bed in other parts of the world. I know here in the US, that's what it is. So let me know in the comment section down below, because I am at total loss for the word right now. But you may want to test out having a slightly smaller bed. For a teen's room, you could go for a double-sized bed and have that in a corner, because it plays a little well, because it always looks a little bit juvenile. And it's something you want to avoid to have a very sumptuous and grand or even just luxurious feeling bedroom, because a bed pushed into a corner, it says to me that we're cramming more furniture than will fit into a room than we really should have in it. A quick word from today's video sponsor. Cornelius, hi! Oh, Cornelius. Oh yes, oh yes. Do you see the details? Oh yes. The next design mistake I see being made that I notice right away as soon as I walk into a space is that we are using varying seat heights. Now, you know I don't believe in getting a huge set of furniture. I think you should get pieces that coordinate together. When we're doing a living room that has things that are not a set or are not designed to work together, one of the most important things to keep in mind is that we want the seat heights to all be the same. And there's a reason we have a standard seat height, and that's 18 inches, and it's for a lot of reasons, and it's primarily for table heights, and it's just ergonomically more in line with how we use furniture and how we sit. But a lot of times we have chairs or sofas that are lower or taller just because that's what was in at the time that was made, or that's the style of it for whatever reason. But we want those seat heights to be the same and consistent throughout a space. When I'm mixing a set or two sets together to create a space that doesn't feel too matchy-matchy, this is something I always keep in mind, whether it's in a dining room, a living room. I've seen sofas and chairs in foyers and entries and hallways. I always like to see those seat heights the same. Not only does it create consistency and scale, and it just looks a little bit more proportionate, but it also is gonna avoid one of those pieces of furniture looking shrunken. When you have a standard 18-inch seat height next to a 15-inch seat height, the 15-inch seat height is gonna look like a kid's piece of furniture. It's gonna look dwarfed, it's gonna look shrunken and small, it's gonna look out of place, and like the scale is just not the same. It's gonna be like, why is that chair low? Not only is it so beyond annoying when you go over to someone's house or you have somewhere you're in a public space and there's like one seat that's just like super teeny tiny and low and you're just kind of like, ooh. You always want those seat heights to be the same, especially when you have people all together, you're sitting all in a group, and then you have that one person that's just shrunken, or the chair is low, or you're sitting there and you're like, my knees are up to my chest in this chair, like what's going on here? That seat height difference, it shows, it makes a difference, and you can always tell when a piece is just a little bit too small or too low. It always feels like a kid's piece of furniture, like there's that one person that's just shrunken down. It's never ideal. I'm gonna put this photo up here where you can see it's a beautiful entryway, and there are two chairs and a console table, and this has really good proportion and really good scale, flanked by this sofa that is low. It feels small, it feels low, because it has a low back, but it also has a low seat. The seat height on this is probably about 15 inches. It may even be slightly lower. It feels like a piece of furniture a dog might lay on, or a kid's piece of furniture. It's beautiful and the space is gorgeous, but this piece just feels too low. The next design mistake I see being made that I notice right away is when mixing styles. So I've actually done a video all about mixing styles and how to combine them, how to mix them together, and how to make them work in your space. And predominantly, I like to see that done through color. But if you are mixing two really, really high contrast styles, you wanna make sure you have a multitude of those style pieces in that space. You don't wanna have a super traditional space that's architecturally traditional with lots of traditional furniture, and then one ultra modern or contemporary sofa. It's going to feel out of place. It's gonna feel like there's not flow. It's going to feel like it's broken up in some way, especially if you're not mixing that color in with something else. We wanna make sure we have flow and connection between different pieces of furniture. And that doesn't necessarily mean you have to bring in something that's also ultra contemporary or super traditional. You can go for something that's transitional or relates in the same way in color, but you wanna make sure there's a connection to that piece and the space, because mixing styles can go wrong very quickly, or it can be very difficult. It's stressful. It can be hard to do. This isn't an easy thing to get right, but with time and with cultivating the pieces, you can definitely do that. This is a space here where you can see that there's a really, really contemporary sofa, and the rest of it is very Regency inspired, but that one sofa just feels out of place. Well, there's two sofas, but those sofas feel out of place because everything else is super traditional. I would go for a little bit more streamlined curtains. I would lose this kind of swag thing we have going on. And then I would like to see another piece in this color somewhere, be it artwork or an accessory, something that's going to connect this gray tone to the rest of the space. That way we have flow, we have connection. Maybe we even take this pinky kind of color from these curtains, bring them onto a pillow on the sofa. Something like this will create flow and connection to the space as opposed to this one piece feeling a little bit jarring, a little bit cold, and a little bit out there. I hope you're loving these examples. I actually did a whole video where I reacted to Amazon reviews very similar to this. It was really fun. We did a lot of really interesting stuff in that video. We talked about spaces and some of the details I see in them. Be sure to head over and check that out if you haven't already, because we had so much fun in it and it was a really interesting way for me to convey some of my ideas with you. I hope you really enjoyed that video. Now, the last thing I want to share with you is artwork placement over large pieces of furniture. And this is something we've been talking about. I actually referenced this in my last video about things that are making your home look cheap part 2, but the size and scale of artwork is really difficult and it can be hard to make a piece feel like it's connected and flows within a space. One of the easiest ways to do this, or one of the things that I notice right away when I walk into a space that they haven't done, is create connection between the piece of artwork and the furniture arrangement below. So you may have a big sofa with a large piece of artwork above it, and I think that's fabulous. Or you might have a bed in your primary suite that's really gorgeous and has a very clean lined headboard with a big piece of art above that. I think that can be fabulous too. But if we don't have an overlap of some sort, it's going to feel disconnected. It's going to feel like that large piece of artwork is just another block on top of a block, and you don't want that. The easiest way to go about fixing this is with some sort of accessory on either side of it, be that lamps, sconces, other pieces of artwork, taller pieces of furniture, maybe even windows, drapery of some sort, to create connection and create that overlap. That way a piece doesn't feel like it's just a piece of art hanging on a wall. It feels like it is a part of the space. It enhances the height and scale of furniture to create good connection, to create good proportions in that room. There are a lot of good and easy ways to do this. You could do a plinth of some sort with a statue, a lamp, something on it. You could do a floor lamp, a sconce, or a faux sconce if you can't wire that in. There are a lot of great things like lamps you can put on side tables that are tall enough to overlap with that. And it doesn't have to be overlapped in the center. It just has to come a good like 6 inches into above the bottom of that piece, and then you will have that connection you need to make it flow, to make it feel like it's connected to the space, as opposed to just one big square thing on the wall above a sofa or a bed, a console table of some sort, anything like this. Creating that connection to a space is really important when it comes to large scale artwork, so it doesn't feel like you just have one big thing hanging on a wall. It feels like it's a part of your room, the space, like it's intentional and like it's meant to be there. Well, there you have it, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to let me know in the comment section down below. And while you're at it, share with me what are some of those things you walk into a space and you notice right away. What are some of those giveaways that you're like, maybe not that. Be sure you share it with me and that you give this video a like. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. And we all know someone that could use a little bit of help in their space, a little bit of cultivation, some of those designer details. Be sure to share this video with them, because friends help friends. And I will see you in the next one.